I'm also going to be giving you a little backstory of how everything else transpired and how you yourself, different ways you can go abroad if you so wish to. Please stay to the end of this video because it was a lot of it, like all over the internet, everywhere. There was healthcare work with visa sponsorship, especially the UK. Hey guys, I hope you are all doing well, and thank you for always coming back to watch my videos and to support me. If you're new here, my name is Olivia. I am currently in Italy, but I am originally from Kenya. I am sharing my traveling experiences while also showing you around the world and also sharing other passions and interests. So if you're new, please be sure to subscribe as a way to appreciate and show support for what I do. To everyone returning, thank you for always coming back to watch my videos. I do appreciate that you are sharing this journey with me. So in today's video, I will be answering one of my most asked questions on how I relocated from Kenya to Italy. I know this is going to be a very interesting one. And some of the people who know me from way back, the people we grew up with, of course, they know who Olivia is as a person. The people we studied with from my undergrad, they know who Olivia is. And I can remember from way back, I was one of those people who always believed that when you put your heart to something or when you follow something with a straight path, then at one point everything is going to turn out to be a success. So, way back when I joined the university and my first year, I studied at the University of Eldoret in Uasin Gishu County, and that is like Eldoret, where it's about to be a city now. You people just wait. And I think that is one of the most highlights of my life because remembering back then, I used to see a lot of things that I thought I could achieve as a young person. So, one thing about me is that I've always been a leader throughout my life. Somehow, I always just found myself in these positions at one point or another. And when I joined my high school, shout out to Kisumu Girls, right in the middle of Kisumu City. In our time, Kisumu Girls was one of the best schools, best girls' schools. I actually still do believe it's one of the best. So I always found myself in these positions and I always strived so hard to just do my best, to just stand out, even without someone pushing me. So I think this is one thing that has really helped me in life. I am one of those people who just found myself trying to strive for the best. And while I was in high school, I developed this love for modeling. There was actually beauty pageants for Miss and Miss Kisumu Girls. I was about to participate, but for one reason or another, I was already in the student council. So I thought I'm already in the student council. If I had to balance the beauty pageant being a Miss School and also like my studies, and also I was already a leader, I thought it could be too much and somehow it could hinder with my education. Coming from someone who in my primary, I was actually the best in my class. And anyone who will be in the comment section will tell you that I was the leader in my primary school, which as a parent, when your child is excelling, I think any parent is always very happy to see their children excelling in the education sector. And this is because I think our parents, they grew up believing that the only and the best way they could secure their children's future was by giving them the best education they could. And I think my mother, I was raised by a single mom, and I grew through seeing how sometimes it was hard for her to make sure that her children had the best in life, because as a single parent who wasn't also coming from royalty, it could be hard for a single mother to raise If you know me, you know also like I have a twin. And so everything she did was doing like double for each me and my sister. So it could be hard if you're not someone who is really stable. So when I was excelling in my education, this really made my mother happy, and I could see she was really trying to just make sure that I achieved this education or got the best out of it. So after high school, I joined the University of Eldoret, and it was in my first year that I actually thought that I could do well also in modeling, like I had started in high school. And so I took the first chance to just put myself out there, and this time try to be a Miss University at first year. And I also remember that in that very first year, I was actually the first female congress of my school. I was elected when I was in first year. And that even made me believe that if there's a way to achieve something in life, then I could achieve it, because this was me in first year becoming a congress lady. And that was just so beautiful for me. And so I ended up also trying to be a Miss University. This time I was able to balance my studies and the leadership skills. I was my Miss University, and this also was another milestone because I had seen my dream come to right in front of my eyes. And all these processes, I am someone who was always putting myself out there, doing the work, what is needed to be done, because I believe that if you put your heart out there to something that you want, then it will always come true. So when I was about to graduate, the COVID hit and everything just shut down. The world was just shutting down. There was nothing going on, and everyone was forced to just take a step back and reflect on everything else. And so at this point, I was supposed to do my internship. And so I wrote down the three hospitals I wanted to work in. And those are the only three hospitals that I did my best to start from there. So my list was the Nairobi Hospital, Kenyatta National Hospital, and the Aga Khan Hospital. If you know Kenya, you know that these are the three best hospitals that can give anyone the best healthcare that they want in Kenya. And so that is what I went directly for. So I did my internship, the first internship ever in my life. I joined the Nairobi hospital. And this also even just made me believe that so anything you want in life, as long as you put your heart to it, then for sure it can come true. This even fueled me. So I did my internship and got done. Nairobi Hospital proved to be one of the best institutions. I was actually the only intern that was allowed to do internship, and they told me that they do not even accept interns. So while I was working on all this process, something was just miraculous. And one thing I've always like found myself in these positions, there's always been just like someone, some good Samaritan to help me out. And I think probably it's because my mother, I've seen my mother help a lot of people, some of them who took it for granted, some of them who turned their backs on her. And I think like when you do something good, somehow it turns on to your children, and somehow if you do something bad, probably it turns also to your children. So when I got done with my internship, I actually graduated after that. And from that point, I also joined Kenyatta National Hospital. And at this point now, I ended up joining both the Nairobi Hospital and the Kenyatta National Hospital. And I thought to myself, okay, these were the two hospitals that you always wanted to join. And so the only remaining one was the Aga Khan Hospital. And I thought, okay, enough. What was not in Nairobi Hospital, of course, I've gotten it in the Kenyatta National Hospital. So I thought, let me aim higher. I started finding a new challenge, something which I thought was more exciting to explore. And I thought, okay, I've explored the main things that I wanted to explore. So why not try at least something else in a different country? I love modeling, and this is something I have a base in. So I started like researching countries which were having like the best modeling system, and I came across Italy, and I was like, wow, Italy, I can actually go to this country. And at this point, I was like, okay, Olivia, you don't even have anyone. You don't know anyone in this country. How are you just going to like just turn the leaf and go to a new country yourself? You don't know anyone. How is this going to happen? Even myself, I didn't know. But like I have told you, I've always been someone who, if I put my heart to something, I will find a way. So I started doing research on how I could go to Italy. I actually did a lot of research in Milan, and it was one of my best cities because I saw a lot of high fashion was going on there. I've always been someone who's been interested in a lot of fashion. I love fashion, I love modeling, I love outfits. And sometimes I was even like, okay, I think I should be doing fashion and designing. At some point, that thought has crossed my mind. As someone who is doing life in 20s, we can all agree that in your 20s, you have a lot of thoughts. You really want to try a lot of different things. And I agree. I actually support you to try a lot of different things in your 20s because this is a very crucial point of life. And it's in your 20s that a lot of things actually become success. So if you're someone who is really into exploring, then please, by all chances, go ahead and explore that one thing that you always believe, or you keep on, your mind keeps on recurring to it and telling you, please try this, please try this. If there's something that your mind is sticking to, then please do it. So I came across the UK, I came across the US, and I was like, I can apply for work in these countries and see how it goes. At that time, there was this work, I don't know if it's still there, but the healthcare work. I think after COVID, the UK just, the labor shortage in the UK just rose so high, and they just wanted like outsiders to come and help them because I don't think not so many people like to do that job in the UK. And so I saw a lot of people who are going with visa sponsorship of healthcare to the UK, and I was like, I have a background in the healthcare industry. I've worked in the hospitals, and so getting a space in the healthcare, it wasn't going to be like such a big deal or such a hard deal when there was already need for people in that space. And so I researched a lot about the healthcare, and I was like, okay, probably you'd need to explore something else, but this is also if you want to visit other countries, maybe you could try with the healthcare because I see a lot of spaces with visa sponsorships. So I actually ruled healthcare out. But also another opportunity presented itself, which is like going with volunteer work. You can apply so many volunteer opportunities, also like going to help other people, going to a country and just doing like a certain type of work which an organization invites you to do. And I was like, okay, I can go and do volunteer work. So I said, I started researching on different organizations, and I came across GAIN. GAIN is the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. GAIN is like Global Alliance International Nutrition. I'm not so sure, but it's like the main foundation for Bill Gates and Melinda. And I thought, okay, I could apply to be a volunteer here. So I did apply to be a volunteer there. And at some point, I also started thinking, what next if I was to finish my volunteer work? Because actually, after COVID, there was so many opportunities. So I said, okay, that is fine. I left that application submitted. So I thought to myself, what if I also like did my master's? At this point, I was also looking into modeling, but if you know so well the modeling industry, especially high fashion, there's a thing for height. In most high fashion models, Sorry guys, it's really hot in Europe right now. The temperature right now is 36 degrees. That is very hot and is also very humid. So I thought to myself, okay, you have to be at least 175 centimeters, which mostly probably a good height, or you have to like go onwards for you to get like spaces fast, especially if you're aiming for the international runways. So myself, I'm not 175, and that somehow posed a challenge because I applied to many agencies and I did get so many invitations actually. But when I went there, they were like, oh, the height is coming into play. It came into play so many times. And at some point, I was like, okay, that is fine. I'm going to do what I can. But at this point, maybe modeling should be a second thought. And I'm always someone who, when something is not working out, I will not quit, but I will find a second solution. So I said, fine, that's not a problem. I said for me to be in Italy, probably I could also do education there. I applied for many universities. I applied for universities in London. I applied for universities in Italy, in the US, and I had to make a choice finally. So I told myself, okay, I would go with Italy because I've always loved Italy. Milan was like in my heart. And so I chose Milan. So how I ended up here was through pursuing my postgraduate education, which I think is like the easiest way to go to a different country if you want to relocate. Take it from me that you do not have to be one of the best excelling students or have a first class in Kenya or in your country in order to relocate. You can relocate with work. You can relocate with just your passion. You can relocate with your talent. In my case, I was almost relocating with modeling. I've seen people, I've met people who relocated with like football. I've met people who relocated with arts. They were like sponsored to do, maybe pursue a degree in arts and so many other stories. So you just have to like research which area you're good in and try a different option if that option doesn't work. So in my case, I didn't even come with modeling as I had thought earlier. And so that's how I came to be in Italy. Honestly, the Italian embassy in Kenya, they were like my main pillars because, like I said earlier, I didn't know anyone in Italy. And even during my application process, even myself, I was like, I didn't know anyone. So I was just like researching and doing everything all by myself. And all this, I was like, okay, as always, I have to do things and I have to see where they are going. And in every step, I think not even one person knew, not even my sister knew that I was planning to relocate. I was just doing everything by myself and figuring out everything. And I think that is always something that makes everything easy because when you're doing something by yourself or in silence, you don't have that pressure of whether you succeed or not because you're not trying to do it or to prove anyone that you can actually do it. You're doing this for yourself, which I think is so calming. So I think my mother knew like 2 weeks to me coming, and she was very shocked. She was like, okay, do you know anyone there? How did you go through the whole process? And I remember my mother, she prayed so hard. She was actually very scared because she thought now my child is going outside there. She's going to be there alone. And finally she was okay. She had to accept that I have to go to a different country. And I think she also realized that I've always been someone who has always been very outgoing. If I have to do something, then I have to do it. I have to find a way to make it work. So she accepted and she just wished me well, of course. She prayed a lot. And I think she's always had so much faith. And that is something which I think has kept her going as a woman. I've also seen the way she has worked through life, and I closely resonate with that because she believes that if she wants the best for you, then you can also want the best for yourself, and it can actually work. So, if you really want to go out country, whichever dream you have, whichever passion you have, then I really do encourage you to start. Don't worry, don't even overthink about it. Just find a way to start, put your heart to it, and do a little bit of research for sure. And I can tell you for sure that whatever it is that you want, it will succeed. The easiest way you can relocate to a different country through education. Try to find scholarships if you're not in a position to pay the school fees. Also through work. Try to find work with visa sponsorships. They are all over the internet. Try to find something which matches you. Try to find a scholarship which like have a little bit of qualities that you resonate with, and for sure they're going to accept you. You'll even be surprised that you're not the best student, but still they're going to accept you. You can also relocate by your talent, that thing which you are good with. Maybe you're good with braiding, maybe you're good with, I don't know, modeling, you're good with football, whichever talent you have, arts, do it. You can relocate and go look for a better future. So, whichever dream you have, pursue it. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this video. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because I'm about to show you the world. I like traveling a lot, and so every place I go, I am going to be taking you guys with me to show you the world. So see you in the next video.